You don't get a productive life by accident. You build it by shaping your mindset first. Most people want to be more productive, but they never take the time to change how they think. They set goals, make lists, watch motivation videos, but their mindset stays scattered, weak, and distracted. That's why nothing sticks. A productive mindset is not about being busy. It's about thinking clearly, acting with purpose, and doing what needs to be done, even when it's hard. The truth is, if you don't fix the way your mind works, your habits will always pull you back to the same place. In this video, I'll walk you through how to develop a more productive mindset, the kind that gets results in real life, not just on paper. You'll learn how to remove what weakens you, how to train your brain to focus, and how to act on the things that actually move your life forward. If you're serious about changing how you live, this is where it starts. Number 1, cut out everything that makes you mentally weak. You can't build a strong and productive mind when you're constantly feeding it with things that make you mentally weak. That's the truth. If your mind is filled with distractions, negativity, excuses, laziness, and people who drain your energy, then don't expect focus, discipline, or growth to show up. A productive mindset doesn't start with reading a book or downloading a new app. It begins with cutting off the things that break you down mentally day after day without you even noticing. Every day your environment is shaping how you think, whether you admit it or not. The people you talk to, the things you consume, the routines you follow, they all program your mind. So the first step to building a stronger mindset is removing what's weakening it. That's your job. Nobody else is going to do it for you. If your social circle is full of people who gossip, complain, quit, and waste time, you don't grow. You settle. You lower your standard without realizing. You need to recognize who's influencing your energy and your thinking, because mental weakness spreads fast in the wrong company. If you spend hours scrolling through meaningless content online, that's not neutral. It's training your brain to avoid hard work. It's teaching your mind to chase pleasure, distraction, and noise. You begin to lose the ability to sit still, to think deeply, to follow through. Mental weakness comes from habits that chip away at your strength without making noise. That's what makes them dangerous. They seem harmless until months pass and you realize you've been stuck in the same spot. You're not tired. You're not burnt out. You're mentally soft because you've been feeding your mind with things that require nothing from you. You've got to take a real look at your daily behavior. Be brutally honest with yourself. What are you doing that's making your mind weaker? Are you avoiding difficult tasks because you don't feel ready? Are you wasting time hoping motivation will magically appear? Are you surrounding yourself with people who never push you to rise? These are hard questions, but they matter. If you want a productive mindset, you need to cut out every source of mental weakness, not reduce it, not manage it, remove it. Discipline grows in silence. It grows when you stop allowing distractions to control your attention. Every time you pick your phone up when you should be working, you train your brain to avoid pressure. That builds weakness. Every time you listen to a negative person instead of shutting them out, you make weakness feel normal. Every time you delay something because it feels uncomfortable, you give your mind permission to stay soft. The productive mindset doesn't get built on ease. It grows every time you reject what makes your thinking small. The truth is, some people and some habits can't come with you if you want to grow. If you keep entertaining people who drain your time, you'll never have enough energy left for your own life. You keep saying yes to every distraction. Your mind will never learn how to say yes to goals. A strong mindset is selective. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about removing what pulls you backward so you can move forward with force. And it's not just about the outside world. Mental weakness also grows when you keep lying to yourself. When you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow When you promise yourself you'll work harder next week. When you say things will change, but you don't change anything. That kind of thinking eats away at your self-respect. You stop trusting your own words. That's one of the biggest reasons people lose their drive. They no longer believe themselves because they've broken their own promises too many times. You don't fix that with motivation. You fix it by cutting out the thoughts and patterns that created the problem. If your inner voice is constantly giving you reasons to quit, then it's your job to shut that voice down and act anyway. That's what productivity really looks like. It's not fancy systems or expensive planners. It's saying no to what makes you mentally weak every single day and saying yes to the things that build mental strength, even when they're boring, even when they're hard, even when no one is watching. You also have to stop looking for comfort in things that give you nothing in return. Comfort food, comfort scrolling, comfort company. It all feels good in the moment, but leaves your mind weaker afterward. Productive people don't chase comfort, they chase progress. They get addicted to effort. They know that every time they choose the hard road, their mind gets sharper, clearer, stronger. Your energy is not unlimited. Your time is not infinite. Every hour you give to something that weakens your mind is an hour you don't get back. So make your decisions count. What you say no to is just as important as what you say yes to. And sometimes saying no to weakness is what allows your strength to show up. If you're serious about building a productive mindset, you can't leave this part out. You've got to do the inner cleanup. Remove the mental junk. Eliminate the noise. Walk away from the people who feed your excuses. Stop listening to your feelings every time they tell you to take it easy. A productive mindset is built when you act in spite of your feelings, not because of them. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you stop tolerating the patterns that keep making you weak. If you mess up, correct it fast. If you slip, don't explain it away, just fix it. Growth doesn't require that you never fall. It requires that you don't stay down. Mental strength is a decision, repeated every day through action, not through talk, not through waiting. You want more clarity? Cut out the noise. You want more energy? Cut out the time wasters. You want more drive? Cut out the comfort zones. You want real change? Cut out the lies you've been telling yourself. Every time you remove something that makes you weaker, you create space for something better. You make room for focus, for effort, for grit, and that's what fuels a productive life. It's not about being smarter than everyone else. It's about being mentally tougher. And mental toughness starts with subtraction, removing everything that no longer deserves a place in your life. When your mindset gets cleaner, your actions get stronger. And when your actions get stronger, your life begins to move. But it starts with you, not with a new tool or tactic, not with another motivational video. It starts with you facing the truth and cutting out what makes you mentally weak. That's the foundation. That's where real productivity begins. Not in comfort, not in talk, but in quiet decisions that no one sees. When you choose strength over ease, again and again, until it becomes who you are. Number 2, train your brain to stop avoiding hard things. Most people never reach their true potential because they train their mind every day to run from what's difficult. And the worst part is, they don't even realize they're doing it. Your brain is always looking for the easiest way out. That's how it's built. It wants to protect you from discomfort. It wants to conserve energy. It wants you to stay where things are familiar. But if you let your brain control the rules, it will always pick comfort over challenge, and you will always stay stuck. To develop a productive mindset, you must retrain your brain to stop running from what's hard and start leaning into it. Even when it doesn't feel good, look around. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who trained themselves to move toward it. They understood that the fastest way to grow is by doing the things most people avoid. If your default setting is to delay, overthink, make excuses, or look for shortcuts, then your brain is already trained to avoid effort. And until you break that pattern, you'll keep repeating it. You'll keep saying, "I'll do it later," even when you know that later never comes. You'll keep choosing the easy route, and easy will cost you everything. You've got to call yourself out. Every time you avoid doing something hard, whether it's waking up on time, starting that task you've been putting off, or having the conversation you don't want to face, you teach your brain that avoidance is okay. You reward it for backing down, and that builds a weak mind. But every time you do the thing you don't want to do, you rewire your brain. You tell it, "This is who I am now." And the more you do it, the stronger you get. This is not about being extreme. It's not about working non-stop. It's about facing what matters even when it's not enjoyable. Because here's the truth. Important things are almost always uncomfortable. Waking up early is uncomfortable. Working on something when you're tired is uncomfortable. Being consistent when you don't feel motivated is uncomfortable. But all of that is necessary. If you want to live with discipline and pride, your brain will resist it at first. That's natural. But you can't let resistance decide how you live. If your body feels tired, you push through. But when your mind feels resistance, most people stop. They confuse mental resistance with a valid reason to quit. It's not that voice in your head that says, "Not now. You're too tired," or "You deserve a break." That voice is not trying to help you. It's trying to keep you small. And the only way to weaken it is to act in spite of it. That's how you change the wiring. Every day you have a choice. You can either wait until you feel ready, or you can act and become ready through doing. Productive people don't wait to feel like it. They train themselves to move. They know that if you wait for motivation, you'll waste your life. So they show up even when they don't feel perfect. And every time they do, they train their brain to follow their lead. The brain learns through repetition, not talk, not planning, through action. If you avoid a tough workout 10 times, your brain learns that workouts are threats to avoid. If you face that same workout 10 times, your brain learns that effort is safe and growth is expected. This isn't philosophy, it's psychology. You don't rise by chance. You rise by consistent decisions that shape your identity. Every time you act against resistance, you cast a vote for the type of person you want to be. And the great thing is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to win the moment you're in. One decision at a time. You feel like quitting, still do the next step. You feel lazy, start moving. You feel scared, do it anyway. Because if you only move when it feels easy, you'll never grow. Strength doesn't show up before action. It comes during action. But none of this happens until you stop running from hard things. As long as you avoid, your brain will believe that pressure is a threat. As long as you delay, your brain will believe that discomfort should be escaped. And the longer you keep avoiding, the more you weaken your ability to focus, commit, and follow through. Avoidance doesn't just kill your productivity. It slowly kills your self-trust. That's a real cost. Every time you avoid a challenge, you feel a little worse about yourself. You know you should have done it. And that guilt doesn't go away. It builds up. You start to question your drive. You start to doubt your ability. But it's not that you're incapable. It's that you've trained your mind to seek escape instead of responsibility. And the only way out is to reverse the training. Start small, but be ruthless. Pick something you've been avoiding, something that matters, and do it now. Don't overthink. Don't plan for next week. Do it in the middle of resistance. That's how you change. One action done at the exact moment your mind is begging to delay. That one move is more powerful than any book, any course, or any motivational speech, because it's yours. You didn't just learn it, you lived it. And that's what teaches the brain faster than anything else. When you face hard things repeatedly, you become calmer. You stop being afraid of work. You stop being scared of pressure. You know what it feels like to act with doubt in your chest and fire in your steps. And that's when your mindset becomes productive. Not just motivated, but consistent. Not just positive, but powerful. And that's when your life begins to shift. You don't need perfect discipline to get started. You need courage. The courage to do one hard thing right now. The courage to keep going even when your brain screams to stop. The courage to hold your standards even when your emotions try to pull you down. You already know what you've been avoiding, so stop running from it. Face it, own it, and act like the person you say you want to be. This isn't about proving anything to others. It's about proving something to yourself, that you can handle challenge, that you can lean into discomfort, that you can show up when it matters, that you are not ruled by weakness. You'll never build a productive life by avoiding difficult work. You'll only build it by doing what others refuse to do. If you train your brain to seek the easy way out, your life will reflect that. It will be average, fragile, filled with regrets. But if you train your brain to take action when things are hard, your life will rise to meet your effort. Every task you complete under pressure makes you stronger. Every uncomfortable choice you follow through on makes you more focused. Every distraction you ignore builds the muscle of self-control. That's the real path, the real formula. Train your brain through repetition. Teach it that hard things are not to be feared. They are to be conquered. That your emotions don't get to decide your effort. That your future is worth more than your excuses. If you start today in this moment and do what you've been avoiding, you'll send a new signal to your mind. You'll take back control, and you'll start becoming the person who gets things done no matter how hard they feel. Number 3, wake up early and stop making excuses daily. Waking up early is not just about getting out of bed. It's about taking control of your life before the world gets a chance to steal your time. The truth is, if you start your day late, you already begin with a disadvantage. You enter the day reacting instead of leading. You wake up chasing instead of building. And slowly, that pattern trains your mind to wait, to delay, to settle. But if you want to create a more productive mindset, then one of the first things you must change is the time you choose to begin your day and the excuses you tell yourself when you don't. People make it complicated. They say they're not morning people or that they function better at night. But most of the time, that's just a cover for a lack of structure. You don't need to love mornings to use them. You just need to use them wisely. When you wake up early, when the rest of the world is still quiet, your mind is clearer, your thoughts are sharper, and there's no one around to interrupt your focus. It's your moment to lead your life with intention. But that won't happen if you keep making excuses for why you can't get up when you said you would. You might say you're tired, but staying up late, doing things that don't add value is what makes you tired. Watching content you don't need, staying on your phone too long, wasting hours in conversations that don't matter. That's what drains you. You don't need more sleep. You need better priorities. Getting to bed on time is not a sacrifice. It's a strategy. It's you telling your future that it matters more than temporary pleasure. And the problem isn't the alarm clock. The problem is what happens the moment it rings. That's the mental battle. Your comfort tells you to stay in bed. Your excuses give you permission to snooze it again. And every time you do that, you weaken your own voice. You send your mind the message that your plans don't matter. You teach yourself that quitting is okay if you're just tired enough. That's how a weak mindset is built. One ignored alarm at a time. But when you get up early, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you begin to lead your mind. You create a sense of control. You start your day on your terms. That creates momentum. You feel it the moment you finish your morning routine. When the rest of the world is still asleep, you feel ahead. You feel focused. You've already proven to yourself that you can do what's hard. And that energy carries over into everything else you do. Excuses will always show up. They'll sound logical. They'll sound kind. They'll tell you that 5 more minutes won't hurt, that you'll be more productive later, that one day doesn't matter. But they lie. 5 minutes turns into 20. Later turns into never. And one day of laziness becomes a habit that spreads into your weeks. Excuses are not random thoughts. They're patterns you've allowed to grow. And the only way to kill them is to act directly against them. Every time you wake up early, you interrupt the pattern. You remind yourself that you are the one in charge. And you stop letting your emotions control your schedule. That's how discipline grows. It doesn't come from motivation. It comes from doing what's necessary when your mind is fighting it. That's the exact moment your mindset becomes stronger. Some people say they'll start waking up early when life feels easier. But life isn't waiting for your schedule to be perfect. It's happening right now. Your dreams are not on pause. Your responsibilities don't disappear just because you're tired. So you either lead your days or you let them pass. And the more you pass them, the heavier regret becomes. You don't want to wake up one day and realize you had the time. You just didn't use it. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to be productive. You just need to stop waking up in panic, rushing, unprepared and behind. The way you begin your morning sets the emotional tone for your entire day. If you begin late, scattered and frustrated, that state follows you. But if you begin early, clear and focused, everything feels more under control. That's what productivity is. It's a byproduct of structure, not chance. If you've been struggling to wake up early, start by being honest. What are you doing the night before that's robbing your mornings? What excuse have you been telling yourself that makes skipping your morning routine feel okay? What reward are you giving your brain every time you delay the start of your day? Once you answer those questions, you'll realize waking up early has less to do with the morning and more to do with what you value most. When your goals are real to you, you stop arguing with the alarm clock. When your standards rise, you stop using tiredness as a reason to waste time. When your mission becomes personal, you don't need reminders. You just move. That kind of fire doesn't come from outside. It comes from you deciding that this is no longer a game, that this isn't just about being a little more productive. This is about taking full control of your time, your habits, your mindset, and your future. Start small if you need to. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Use that time to do something meaningful. Read, journal, plan. Move your body, reflect, and do it consistently. Not just when it's easy. Because real growth happens when you show up during resistance. Your mind learns fastest through repetition. The more you show up on time, the more natural it becomes. And soon you'll stop needing to convince yourself. It'll become part of who you are. But it all starts with one decision. Stop making excuses every morning. Excuses are comfortable. They're familiar, but they're also destructive. They steal time. They lower standards. They damage your trust in yourself. If you keep making them, don't be surprised when your life doesn't move forward. Waking up early is not about being superhuman. It's about being responsible with the time you've been given. It's about starting your day with intention, not regret. It's about taking the lead on your own life, instead of reacting to everyone else's. When you own your morning, you build a productive mindset by default. You don't need permission. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to stop listening to the part of you that wants the easy way out. The strongest people you know, the ones who lead, build, and grow, they've made peace with discomfort. They wake up tired, but they move. They feel resistance, but they act. They don't wait for perfect energy. They create it through effort. And that's the mindset you build when you rise early and show up with purpose. So tomorrow, when that alarm rings, remember this. How you respond in that moment defines your day. And how you respond every day defines your life. Don't negotiate. Don't explain. Don't delay. Get up. Move. Lead your life before it leads you. And over time, the person who once made excuses will be replaced by someone who simply gets things done. Number 4, force yourself to finish what you start, always. Most people don't fail because they don't start. They fail because they never finish. They begin with energy, with motivation, with a plan. But somewhere along the way, the excitement fades, the distractions creep in, and the work feels heavier than they expected. And instead of pushing through, they leave things halfway done, hoping one day they'll come back, but they rarely do. And that unfinished list becomes a mirror of their mindset, a reflection of how often they back away when things stop feeling easy. If you want to build a strong and productive mind, you need to force yourself to finish what you start, no matter how you feel in the middle of it. It's easy to feel driven when something is new. It's easy to stay excited when you're just beginning. But the middle part, the part where you have to stay focused even when the results are slow, even when no one's watching, even when you're not in the mood, that's where most people quit. That's where mental weakness shows up. And that's the exact place where your growth is hiding. You don't become disciplined by starting everything. You become disciplined by finishing what you said you would do, even when the emotion that got you started is long gone. Finishing builds identity. It builds self-respect. Every time you complete something that you wanted to quit, you prove to yourself that you're serious. You show your mind that your words mean something, that you can be trusted to follow through, and that builds momentum. You start feeling stronger, more capable, more confident, not because someone told you you're great, but because you kept your own word when it was hard. When you quit halfway, you lose more than time. You lose belief in yourself. You start to question your ability. You carry guilt. And over time, quitting becomes easier, more automatic. It becomes a habit. You start expecting to lose steam, You start assuming that you'll leave things unfinished. And without realizing it, you become the kind of person who doesn't complete things. That's a mindset problem, not a motivation problem. You don't fix it with another idea or goal. You fix it by deciding right now that when you start something, you will finish it. That no matter how messy the middle is, no matter how tired you get, no matter how long it takes, you will complete what you began. And that decision must be stronger than your mood, your distractions, or your doubts. That's what builds mental toughness. Not the start, not the plan, the follow-through. It might take longer than expected. It might not be perfect. You might have to adjust, restart, or redo pieces. But the only outcome that counts is completion. That's what separates amateurs from professionals, dreamers from builders, talkers from doers. The person who finishes is the person who grows, not because it was easy, but because they stayed in the fight when quitting felt more comfortable. You must train yourself to push through the moment when you feel like stepping away. That's the critical point. That's when most people drop the ball. That's when your mind starts feeding you excuses. You're tired. You've done enough. It's not urgent. You can continue tomorrow. That's the exact moment you must move. Not talk, not debate. Move. Even if it's slow, even if it's not perfect. Move forward until it's done. Productivity isn't just about speed, it's about completion. The world is full of people who are always busy, always planning, always talking about their next move, but they never finish anything. That kind of mindset leads to nowhere. It leaves you scattered, unfocused, and frustrated, because deep down, you know you could be further along. You know you've left too many things incomplete, and that eats at you, quietly. The good news is, you can fix that. You can start finishing things right now. You don't need to be in the mood. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision and action. Pick one thing you've been putting off, and finish it today. Not next week, not when life calms down. Today. And when it's done, feel what that does to your mind. You'll feel sharper, clearer, more grounded. Because now you're leading your life instead of reacting to it. And once you finish one thing, do it again. Stack completions. Build a new habit. One where you don't move on until something is done. One where you no longer tolerate half-finished tasks piling up in your life. One where people can count on your words, because you can count on yourself. That's how you shift your identity. That's how you move from scattered to sharp. You might think small tasks don't matter. But every task you leave undone is a signal to your brain that quitting is allowed. You must close the loop every time. Whether it's a conversation, a goal, a task, or a commitment, you finish what you start. That mindset transfers into every area of your life. Your work gets cleaner. Your relationships get clearer. Your goals become real, because you're no longer entertaining the idea of stopping early. It doesn't mean you don't rest. It means you don't quit. Rest is part of the process, but stopping completely, that's not an option. If you're serious about your growth, you don't get stronger by beginning something new every time you're bored. You get stronger by staying locked in when it's not exciting. You rise when you stop being emotionally attached to the feeling of progress and stay committed to the process of progress. You don't need to explain to anyone why you quit, but your brain remembers. Your self-image is shaped by what you do consistently. If you always leave projects halfway, your mind expects it, and that expectation lowers your drive. You can't build momentum on unfinished work. You build it on action that follows through. Next time you start something, pause and decide, will I finish this no matter what? Will I stay in the game even when I don't feel like it? Will I reject the easy way out? That simple pause can change everything, because it sets your intention. And when your intention is backed by action, results follow. People respect those who finish. The world rewards completion. It respects those who say, I will do this, and then actually do it. Not because it was easy, but because it mattered enough to complete. So if you want to stand out, if you want to be trusted, if you want to respect yourself at a higher level, then develop the habit of completion, not perfection. Completion. The more you train your mind to complete what you begin, the less power excuses have over you. The more momentum you build, the less appealing quitting becomes. You start expecting to finish.
You start craving that sense of closure. You stop running from effort and begin leaning into it. That's how productive people think. They don't look for shortcuts. They look for ways to stay in motion until the job is done. And that's the mindset you need to build if you want your life to reflect progress instead of potential. Finish what you start, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching. Because every time you do, you grow into the person who can be trusted to win. And that person once built can't be stopped.
Number 5. Stop wasting hours on things that don't matter. Time is not just ticking, it's disappearing. Every day you're given the same 24 hours as everyone else. What you do with those hours decides the kind of life you live, the results you get, and the kind of person you become. And yet most people spend huge chunks of their time on things that don't move them forward at all. They're busy, but not growing. They're occupied, but not building anything meaningful. They use their time reacting instead of directing. If you want to develop a productive mindset, the first thing you need to do is stop wasting hours on things that don't matter. Most people don't realize how much time they lose in a day. They scroll without thinking. They jump from task to task with no focus. They check their phones every few minutes. They spend hours in conversations that go nowhere. They chase distractions, thinking they're staying informed or entertained, but really, they're just avoiding what matters. This doesn't make them lazy. It makes them unaware. And that's the danger, when wasting time becomes so normal that you don't even notice it anymore. You have to be honest with yourself. What are you doing every day that's taking your time, but giving you nothing in return? What apps are you opening over and over again out of habit? What conversations are you saying yes to that drain your energy? What tasks are you doing just to stay busy, not to get better? Because time doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't stop when you're tired or distracted. It keeps moving. And if you keep handing it away to things that don't matter, it will keep slipping through your fingers. You don't need more time. You need to respect the time you already have. Most people are not overwhelmed because they have too much to do. They're overwhelmed because they spend most of their day doing things that don't serve their future. They give away their attention to whatever screams the loudest. Notifications, gossip, meaningless entertainment. None of it builds anything lasting. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. If you keep saying you don't have time, but you're spending 3 or 4 hours a day on things you can't even remember the next day, you're not being honest with yourself. A productive mindset starts with full responsibility. You can't build focus if you're always giving your time to noise. You can't feel in control if you keep reacting to everything around you. You have to learn how to say no, not just to people, but to the habits that are costing you your future. You don't have to eliminate every distraction at once, but you must start removing what clearly adds no value. Check your screen time. Look at how many hours you're losing every week. Ask yourself what you got in return for that time. If it's nothing, cut it. You don't need to go cold turkey, but you need to stop defending behavior that's wasting your life. And this isn't just about technology. It's about the mindset behind how you use your hours. Some people waste time overthinking. They keep replaying conversations in their heads. They keep worrying about things they can't control. They keep researching without acting. All of that feels like activity, but it produces nothing. And when you spend too much time stuck in your head, life passes by outside of it. When you learn to value your time, everything changes. You stop agreeing to things that don't align with your goals. You stop entertaining negativity. You stop giving energy to people who don't respect your focus. You start protecting your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Every hour you waste is an hour you never get back. And once you realize the cost, you start thinking twice before handing your time away so easily. It's not about being rigid. It's not about working non-stop. It's about knowing what matters and cutting what doesn't. Even one wasted hour a day adds up to over 300 hours a year. That's time you could have used to build a skill, fix your health, grow your income, or strengthen your mindset. But most people give that time away without thinking, then wonder why nothing changes. Start asking better questions. Before you commit to anything, ask yourself, will this help me grow? Does this align with the person I want to be? Is this building anything real? If the answer is no, say no. If the answer is unclear, think twice. A productive mind is not just filled with plans.
It's built on decisions that protect time and focus. You have to be ruthless with your schedule. Not because you're busy, but because your future depends on how you spend each day. And be careful of comfort. Many time-wasting habits feel good. That's why they're addictive. The brain loves the short-term reward. But that reward is fake. It fades fast and leaves you feeling worse later. Real progress comes with delayed gratification. It comes from choosing effort over ease. And the moment you stop chasing comfort and start building discipline, your entire day takes a different shape. Some people will try to pull you back into their time-wasting routines. They'll tell you you're too serious, that you should relax, that you can do it later. But remember, most people are not moving forward. They're stuck in cycles they don't question. Don't take advice from someone who's been running in circles for years. Guard your time like your future depends on it. Because it absolutely does. Every minute matters. Every hour you protect gives you more power to create, to grow, to change. You don't need to wait for a new year or a new phase of life. Start now. Choose one thing today that doesn't deserve your time and drop it. Replace it with something that builds you. Read instead of scroll. Reflect instead of complain. Work instead of delay. That's how you flip the switch from busy to productive. And when you start living this way, you begin to feel lighter. Your mind feels clearer. You don't feel scattered or drained because you're no longer pulled in 20 directions. You're moving with purpose. You're spending your hours with intention. That's what makes you feel strong. Not just the results, but the control you build by saying no to what doesn't matter. This is how you build a productive life, not by adding more, but by removing the things that quietly destroy your time. If you want to get serious about your growth, your time has to matter more than your cravings, more than your distractions, more than your excuses. Stop wasting hours on things that don't matter. You've got too much potential to keep living like time is free. Start owning every minute, because what you do with today shapes who you become tomorrow.
Number 6, decide what you want and act on it. Most people don't lack talent. They don't lack opportunity. What they lack is clarity. They wake up each day without a clear idea of what they want. So they go in circles. They stay busy, but they don't move forward. They react to life instead of leading it. If you don't decide what you want, someone else will decide for you. The world is full of distractions and demands. And if you don't take control of your direction, you'll end up spending years doing things that mean nothing to you. A productive mindset begins with a real decision about what you want and a commitment to act on it without delay. You can't build your life on vague desires. You have to be specific. You can't say you want success, but not know what success looks like to you. You can't say you want to improve, but have no real target. You have to stop talking in generalities and get serious about the details. What kind of life do you want? What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of work do you want to do? What kind of standards do you want to live by? These are not just questions. They're the foundation of direction. Once you know what you want, the next move is action. Not thinking, not over-planning. Action. Because a decision without movement is nothing but a wish. You can spend years saying you'll change, you'll try, you'll start. But if you're not doing anything about it, you're stuck in a loop of mental comfort. Clarity means nothing without movement. A productive mind doesn't just make plans. It turns those plans into work. Starting now, it's easy to stay in thought mode. It feels safe. You're imagining, exploring, considering. But none of that builds anything until you act. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never have the perfect moment. You just need to move. One step toward your decision. One choice that reflects what you truly want. That's how you begin. That's how you shift your life from hesitation to progress. People waste years waiting for a clear sign or perfect alignment. But life doesn't hand out guarantees. You figure it out by doing. You test. You adjust. You keep moving. What matters is that you choose something real and move toward it with full energy. That level of commitment changes how you think. It makes you sharper. You stop tolerating distractions. You stop explaining your laziness. You start owning every decision. But to act, you must also remove the confusion. If you keep changing your mind every week, if you keep chasing the newest idea or trend, you never build depth. You stay shallow. You get excited. Then you burn out. That cycle creates mental exhaustion. The problem isn't that you can't stick with things.
The problem is you never made a serious decision to begin with. You were interested, not committed. A productive mindset is built when you say, "This is what I'm doing, and I will follow through until it's done." Not, "I'll try it for a while." Not, "Let's see how it goes." That kind of weak thinking leads to weak results. You don't need to have every detail figured out. You just need to decide and act, and keep acting until it's real. You'll face resistance. That's normal. The moment you commit, obstacles show up. Doubt kicks in. You start second guessing. But that's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to dig deeper. Real growth comes after the decision, not before it. Most people retreat at the first sign of pressure. They think that means they made the wrong choice. But pressure doesn't mean stop. It means you're moving in a real direction now. Stay with it. Your mind will try to talk you out of action. It will say you're not ready, that you're too late, that you're not good enough. But you have to ignore that voice. It's not giving you truth. It's giving you fear. And fear doesn't disappear through thinking. It disappears through doing. The more you act on your decision, the quieter the fear becomes. Because your brain starts to believe in you when it sees you doing the work. Most people live their whole life making small decisions. They choose comfort over clarity, distraction over direction, short-term pleasure over long-term growth. And then they wonder why they feel unfulfilled. You don't need to be one of them. You can decide right now what matters to you. And you can prove it by acting. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. Right now it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it all right the first time. You just have to stay focused and keep adjusting. That's how winners operate. They don't have superpowers. They have clarity and discipline. They know what they want. They know what they're building. And they protect their focus like it's everything. Because it is. You also have to stop listening to everyone else. If you base your goals on what others expect of you, you'll always feel empty. You'll achieve things that don't fulfill you. You'll chase goals that don't fit your values. You must shut off the noise and ask yourself, what do I want? Not what looks good, not what's trending, not what others think I should do. What do I want? The real answer to that question is the start of a productive life. Once you have that answer, act like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future is built on today's decisions. Every time you delay, you lose ground. Every time you avoid, you give your power away. But when you act, you take it back. You reclaim control. You stop floating through your days and start moving with intention. The people you admire didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for ideal conditions. They made a decision and acted on it until it became real. You can do the same. But it starts with clarity, backed by consistent effort. You don't need more opinions. You need more action. The kind that shows you're serious. The kind that builds confidence, because you're no longer hiding behind talk. You have to trust that momentum builds faster than motivation. When you act, things begin to shift. Your energy changes. Your thinking becomes sharper. You don't feel lost anymore, because you're finally moving in a direction that matters to you. That's what most people are missing. Not more talent, not more time, just the courage to decide, and the strength to keep going when it's not easy. So ask yourself, what do I really want? And once you know the answer, do something today to move closer to it. Don't overthink. Don't doubt. Just start. Even if it's small, even if it's rough, just start. And keep showing up until the vision in your mind becomes the reality in your hands. That's how productive people think. That's how strong people live. And that's how you take full control of your life.
Number 7. Choose discipline even when comfort feels better now. Every day you're faced with a choice. Do you go with what feels good now? Or do you choose what will help you grow later? It's a quiet decision, but it shapes everything. Most people don't fail because they don't try. They fail because they choose comfort in the moments that require discipline. They take the easy path when the hard one would have changed everything. But the truth is, success doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from choosing discipline every time comfort tries to convince you to back off. Comfort is tempting. It's familiar. It feels safe. You've built habits around it. You know what it feels like to sleep in, to skip the workout, to delay the work, to eat what's easy, to scroll through distractions. And your brain rewards you for it with temporary relief. But after that relief comes regret. and regret is heavier than effort. The short-term relief from avoiding responsibility always turns into long-term dissatisfaction. Because deep down you know you could have done better. You just didn't. Discipline never feels good in the beginning. Waking up early doesn't feel good when the bed is warm. Starting a task doesn't feel exciting when you're tired. Saying no to something that gives you quick pleasure takes mental effort. But every time you do it, something changes inside you. You start proving to yourself that you can lead your life instead of reacting to your urges. That feeling is rare and powerful. It builds self-respect. And once you start experiencing that, you won't want to go back. You have to stop giving in to how you feel in the moment. Feelings aren't reliable when it comes to growth. They're built to protect you, to keep you safe and comfortable. But growth isn't comfortable. It stretches you. It tests your patience. It demands consistency. That's why you can't wait until you feel like doing the hard thing. You'll never get anything done if you let comfort decide for you. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you gain something. Maybe not instantly, but the reward always comes. You get more done. You feel more confident. You think clearer. You move faster. And more importantly, you feel in control. Not because things are easy, but because you didn't let yourself settle for less than your best. That control becomes a foundation for everything else in your life. Comfort can't give you that. It only delays your progress. It keeps you where you are. And the more you choose it, the more it trains your mind to avoid anything that challenges you. That's how weakness is built, by choosing what's easy just because it's easier. But discipline breaks that cycle. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. You'll never get rid of the voice that tells you to take it easy. That voice lives in everyone. But the difference between those who win and those who stay stuck is that winners don't listen to it. They acknowledge it and move anyway. That's the muscle you build, not by avoiding the voice, but by acting in spite of it. You need to decide ahead of time who you're going to be when the choice shows up, because it always does. The moment when you don't want to do it, that's the moment that defines your direction. If you wait until that moment to make a decision, comfort will win. But if you've already decided that you choose discipline no matter what, you move before comfort even has a chance to talk you out of it. And no, it won't always feel great. But over time it gets easier. You start craving the challenge. You start enjoying the feeling of doing what's difficult. You feel stronger, and your results reflect it. Discipline gives you real progress, real improvement, real freedom. Because now you're not depending on motivation or emotion. You're depending on your own will. Comfort will tell you to slow down. It will tell you that you've done enough, that you deserve a break. And sometimes that's true. Rest matters, but most of the time that voice shows up when you're just getting started. It's not rest you need. It's resistance you have to push through. And the only thing strong enough to beat that resistance is discipline. You won't build anything great by only working when you feel ready. You build it by showing up when it's hard, by sticking to your word when quitting feels easier, by putting in the work when nobody else is watching. That's what creates long-term strength. That's how habits are formed. And once they're in place, they carry you forward even on your worst days. Discipline also gives you peace of mind. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're doing your part. You're not hiding from your responsibilities. You're not making excuses. You're showing up. And that removes the stress that comes from avoiding what you know needs to be done. That kind of mental peace is something comfort can never give you. Most people chase comfort their whole life and wonder why nothing changes. But change doesn't happen when things are easy. Change happens when you do what's right, over and over, even when it's difficult. You don't need to make 1,000 changes at once. You just need to start with one moment, one choice, where you pick discipline over comfort. Then repeat that every day. No matter what, it's a mindset, a commitment, a way of living. You get up when you said you would. You finish the task you promised. You show up even when you'd rather relax. You hold yourself to a higher standard, not because someone's watching, but because that's who you've decided to be. That kind of mindset creates power. You're no longer waiting for the right conditions. You are the condition. You are the reason things move forward. You stop blaming the environment, the people around you, the timing. You take full responsibility for how your day goes. That's discipline. It's not flashy.
It's not exciting, but it's always effective. You can't build a strong life on convenience. Convenience leads to shortcuts, half effort, and unfinished goals. Discipline leads to progress, pride, and real results. The decision is always yours, every day, every moment. You choose what path you take, and that choice becomes your habit. Your habit becomes your mindset, and your mindset shapes your future. So when comfort calls, and it will, remember what's really at stake. Every time you give in, you trade progress for peace that doesn't last. Every time you choose discipline, you build a foundation that never leaves you. Choose wisely, choose strength, choose the hard road, because that's the one that leads to everything you've been chasing. And it starts with the next decision you make.
Number 8, check your habits and remove what kills progress. Your life is the result of your habits, not your dreams, not your plans, not even your motivation. The things you do over and over again decide where you end up. And if you're not honest about the habits you keep, you'll keep wondering why you're not making progress. Most people don't fail because of one big mistake. They fail because they repeat small habits every day that quietly kill progress. If you want to develop a productive mindset, the first thing you need to do is check your habits and remove the ones that are slowing you down. You don't rise by accident. You rise when you consistently do what pushes you forward. That means your habits have to support your goals, not fight against them. But many people go through their day without even noticing how much time, energy, and focus they're wasting on habits that give them nothing back. They wake up and reach for their phone first thing in the morning. They start the day in reaction mode. They scroll, they compare, they overthink. And by the time they get to what really matters, their best energy is already gone. You've got to audit your behavior. What do you do when nobody's watching? What do your mornings look like? How do you spend the last hour of your day? What do you do with the first 30 minutes when you're feeling overwhelmed? These patterns are shaping your mindset. Whether you admit it or not, you can't fix what you don't face. And if you keep telling yourself your habits are fine just because you're busy, you'll stay stuck in that same cycle. Active but not productive. Progress is not just about adding more to your routine. It's also about removing the things that are getting in your way. You can have the best goals, the best mindset, the strongest desire. But if your habits don't support that vision, you'll sabotage yourself. You'll take one step forward and 2 steps back, over and over again. That's why the real work isn't always doing more. It's often doing less of the wrong things. There are habits that look harmless but are destroying your progress quietly. Saying yes to things you don't really want to do. Checking your phone during important work. Staying up too late for no good reason. Putting off tasks just because you don't feel ready. Filling your schedule with low-value work just to avoid what's actually difficult. These are habits, and they're not random. You've repeated them so often that they've become automatic. Now they run your day even when you know better. You need to interrupt those cycles. You need to bring awareness to the patterns that are dragging you down. Write them out. Look at them in black and white. Be brutally honest. Ask yourself, does this habit help me or hold me back? That one question can change your life. Because when you face your own patterns without excuses, you take back control. And control is what gives you power to change. Don't wait until it's convenient to remove those habits. That moment never comes. You have to do it while it's uncomfortable. That's how new habits are formed, by doing what's better before it feels natural. The old pattern will try to pull you back. It will tell you that you've always done it this way, that it's not a big deal, that you'll fix it later. But that's exactly how it keeps surviving. The longer you wait to break a bad habit, the more comfortable it becomes. And comfort is the enemy of progress. Replacing bad habits doesn't have to be dramatic. Start with small shifts. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and use that time to plan your day instead of diving into chaos. Replace mindless scrolling with reading one page of something that actually challenges your thinking. Swap the habit of complaining with writing down one thing you can fix. These may seem like small things, but they create a new rhythm, and that rhythm builds momentum. Over time, it becomes who you are. You don't rise by cutting corners. You rise by doing the boring, the difficult, the inconvenient things that others avoid. And those things get done when your habits are in alignment. That's why the goal isn't just to be more disciplined. It's to make discipline automatic through your routines.
When your default behavior is productive, you don't need to rely on motivation. You don't need to wait for the right mood. You just act. Some people think they're unlucky, that life isn't giving them what they deserve. But the truth is, it's not luck. It's repetition. They're repeating habits that don't match the results they want. They're putting energy into things that don't matter, and wondering why their goals feel out of reach. You can't complain about not moving forward if your daily actions don't support your direction. If you're serious about change, you need to become uncomfortable with comfort. Comfort keeps bad habits alive. Comfort keeps you distracted. Comfort keeps you tied to behaviors that give you instant relief but long-term regret. And until you cut those patterns out, you'll keep circling the same problems with no real growth. You owe it to yourself to take a closer look. This is your life, your time, your potential. You don't get these days back. You don't get a redo. What you repeat today becomes who you are tomorrow. And if you keep entertaining habits that steal your energy, waste your time and break your focus, then you're building a life you'll eventually want to escape from. Don't let that happen. Start now. Choose one habit today that doesn't serve you and break it. Replace it with something that gives you clarity, not confusion. Choose growth over comfort. Choose discipline over ease. Choose purpose over distraction. And do it again tomorrow. Build a new rhythm, one that makes progress your normal state. Every result you want is waiting for the right habits to meet it. Not just once, but daily. The life you want doesn't respond to good intentions. It responds to patterns. Change your patterns, and everything else follows. But that won't happen unless you take ownership. No more blaming time. No more pretending you didn't notice. Look at your habits. Call them out. And if they don't serve your future, remove them. No hesitation. No debate. You've got goals. You've got vision. Now align your actions with those things. No more dragging dead weight through your days. Your habits are either lifting you up or pulling you down. There is no in between. Choose wisely, because what you repeat becomes your reality. And if you want a better one, you've got to start by changing what you do when no one's watching. That's where transformation begins. Not with talk, but with pattern-breaking action. One habit at a time, every single day.
Number 9. Start your day with action, not phone scrolling. The way you start your morning says everything about how you live your life. If your first move each day is to grab your phone and scroll, you're already giving your time, energy, and focus away before you've even had a chance to think for yourself. That habit, as small as it seems, is quietly taking control of your mind. The moment you wake up and hand your attention over to noise, you lose the clarity and strength you need to lead your day with purpose. That's not how productive people live. That's not how focused people rise. You want a better mindset? Then start your day with action, not phone scrolling. Most people don't even notice it anymore. The alarm goes off. The hand reaches for the phone. And before they know it, they've spent 30-40 minutes looking at things that don't matter. They check updates, dive into feeds, absorb opinions, and read content that does nothing to help them grow. They let other people's lives, problems, and ideas flood their brain before they've even taken a deep breath. And they call that normal. But that's not normal. That's distraction addiction. That's the reason people feel scattered, rushed, and emotionally exhausted before the day has even begun. If you don't control your focus in the first hour of your day, the rest of your day will control you. The brain is most clear, calm, and sensitive to direction right after waking up. What you do during that time shapes your mindset, your priorities, and your mental energy. If you train yourself to move into action early, you build momentum. But if you train yourself to scroll, to consume, to react, then your brain gets wired to expect ease, noise, and mental laziness. You have to ask yourself, why is reaching for your phone the first thing you do? It's not because you need to. It's because it gives you an escape from the pressure of responsibility. You wake up and instead of stepping into purpose, you numb the stress with content. You delay the work, delay the decisions, delay the effort. You escape into someone else's life because facing your own feels heavier. That's the truth for most people. But the longer you run from your own day, the more powerless you become in shaping it. Your phone is not the problem. The problem is the habit you've created with it. The moment you allow a machine to decide what you see, think, or feel before you've even stood up, you weaken your ability to lead your own mind. You start the day behind.
you're already reacting. You've given your first thoughts, your best energy, to entertainment, comparison, and noise. No plan, no structure, no purpose, just reaction. And from that place, focus becomes nearly impossible. You want more control over your life? Then start by taking control of your mornings. Replace scrolling with something that gets your body or your brain moving. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You don't need to copy someone else's system. Just do something that's yours, something that builds you instead of drains you. Maybe it's stretching, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's reviewing your goals, maybe it's stepping outside for fresh air and silence. It doesn't need to take hours. It just needs to come from you, not a screen. The first win of your day should not be tied to your phone. It should be tied to a clear decision that says, I run my life. My attention is mine. That small act builds confidence. It tells your mind that your day has direction. It helps you stay grounded in a world that's trying to pull you in every direction. And once you start your morning with action, you'll notice how much smoother your entire day flows. You'll be more focused, more present, more clear, because you gave your brain the right signal from the start. And no, it won't feel easy at first. That habit is deeply wired. You've trained yourself to check your phone without thinking. It feels automatic. But automatic doesn't mean right. The only way to break it is to replace it. Keep the phone out of reach. Set a rule. No phone for the first 30 minutes after waking up. Fill that time with intention. Be uncomfortable if you have to. That discomfort means you're changing. You're doing something most people won't. And that's how growth begins, by choosing better when it's not easy. You'll have days where the urge to scroll is strong. You'll justify it. You'll tell yourself it's harmless, that it's just 5 minutes. But 5 minutes turns into 30, and 30 turns into mental chaos. Don't fall for it. Stand firm. You said you wanted to build a better life. You said you wanted to be more productive. That starts with the small decisions, especially the ones you think don't matter, because those are the ones that shape who you become. Start your day with a win, a real one, something you chose, something that reflects strength, not weakness. Get your blood moving. Get your mind sharp. Do something that puts you in control. And do it every morning, until it becomes who you are. Over time, that discipline will bleed into the rest of your day. You'll think clearer, you'll waste less time. You'll stop chasing motivation and start living with direction. Your morning is your foundation. Don't give it away to noise, comparison, or distraction. Build it with discipline. Lead it with clarity. Protect it with action. You'll be amazed at how much better your life feels when you stop giving your mornings to a device and start giving them to your future. One decision, one change, one strong move to begin your day. That's all it takes. And you can make that move tomorrow. Not with a big announcement, not with a perfect plan, just by getting up and acting before you reach for the screen. That's the shift. That's how you build a stronger mind. Not by consuming more, but by acting on what you already know. Don't just live your day, lead it. And that leadership starts the moment your eyes open. Make that moment count, every single day. Number 10, challenge your thoughts when they try to control you. Your thoughts are powerful, but they're not always right. And if you never challenge them, they will run your life without permission. Most people don't even realize how often their mind is working against them. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough. It's too late. I'll never figure this out. Or this is too hard. Show up constantly. And the mistake people make is believing them without question. But a productive mindset doesn't accept every thought as truth. A productive mindset questions, pushes back, rewrites, and takes control. If you want to be strong mentally, you have to challenge your thoughts, especially the ones trying to slow you down. Your mind will try to protect you from discomfort. That's how it's wired. It wants safety. It wants comfort. It wants to stay inside routines. So when you try to do something bold, start a new habit, build something difficult, take responsibility, make a change, your thoughts will resist. They'll tell you to wait. They'll tell you that you're not ready. They'll bring up every mistake from your past. And if you don't fight back, those thoughts will shape your behavior and eventually your reality. Thoughts are not facts. They're suggestions. They're stories. They come from memories, fears, habits, and past experiences. Just because a thought is loud doesn't mean it's true. Just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's right. Your job is not to silence your thoughts. Your job is to talk back to them, to check them, to ask where they're coming from.
to question if they help or hurt you. That's how you train your mind, instead of being led by it. The strongest people in the world feel fear. They feel doubt. They have insecurities. But they don't accept those thoughts without resistance. They look those thoughts in the face and say, "Not today." They know that a single thought, left unchecked, can take them down the wrong path. So they stay alert. They question their inner voice. They challenge the part of themselves that wants to quit. And because of that, they win. Most people live their entire life believing everything their mind tells them. They never stop to ask, is this thought helping me? Is this belief still useful? Is this fear even real? Instead, they allow old programming to shape every new opportunity. They miss chances. They delay growth. They stay stuck in patterns that feel familiar, even if those patterns are keeping them small. That's not how you build a productive life. That's how you repeat the same year over and over. You've got to train yourself to pause when your mind pushes back. Don't let your first thought be your final decision. Just because your brain says "I can't" doesn't mean it's the end of the conversation. That's the beginning of your fight. That's your moment to respond with reason, not emotion. You have to be the leader of your own thinking. Otherwise, fear will lead, doubt will lead, comfort will lead, and none of those are loyal to your goals. It's easy to assume that if a thought feels real, it must be true. But feelings lie. Fear can make a small problem look massive. Insecurity can turn one mistake into a complete identity crisis. Stress can make everything feel urgent, even when it's not. That's why challenging your thoughts isn't a luxury, it's survival. If you don't do it, your mind will keep you operating far below your potential. Start by becoming aware. Notice when your thoughts shift. Pay attention to patterns. What do you usually think when it's time to start something? What's your inner voice saying when things get uncomfortable? What thoughts do you believe when you're tired or disappointed? Once you see the pattern, you can begin to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought based on fear or on facts? What would I tell someone else if they were thinking this? What evidence do I have that this thought is true? Most of the time, you'll realize the thought isn't grounded. It's just emotional noise. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought. You just need to stop obeying them. You need to break the cycle of automatic belief. You need to catch yourself in the moment and choose a better thought, one that serves your progress. That takes effort. That takes intention. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You start building a filter in your mind. Weak thoughts come in, but they don't make it through. Because now you're not passive. You're in charge. And when you do this consistently, something powerful happens. Your confidence grows. Not because life gets easier, but because you're no longer ruled by the noise in your head. You can hear doubt and still move. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel fear and still act. You can be surrounded by uncertainty and still trust yourself. That's real strength. That's what makes you unshakable. Not silence, but control. Your thoughts will always try to pull you somewhere. If you don't steer them, they'll steer you. And the default setting of the mind is not excellence. It's survival. You have to override that. You have to set new standards. You have to teach your brain that you are not the scared, small, reactive person you used to be. You are becoming someone who leads with action, who thinks with clarity, who doesn't crumble at the first sign of pressure. This is what separates growth from stagnation. Not intelligence, not talent, not luck, but the daily discipline of choosing your thoughts instead of being pushed around by them. That's the real work. That's the difference between living by reaction or living by decision. And it starts the moment you hear a thought that doesn't align with your goals, and you stop and challenge it instead of accepting it. No one's coming to do this for you. No one can get inside your head and clean it up. This is your fight. This is your responsibility. And the reward is massive. Clarity, freedom, focus, strength. But you have to earn it. Not once, but every single day. So don't wait. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for fear to disappear. It won't. You act anyway. You think clearly anyway. You rise anyway. Because now you're no longer obeying your thoughts. You're leading them. And that changes everything. If you want real change in your life, don't wait for the perfect moment. Start by changing the way you think. A productive mindset doesn't come from motivation. It comes from making small decisions every day that lead to big results. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting. You already know what needs to change.
Now act on it. You've just learned the tools to build a stronger, more focused mind. But learning is only the first step. What matters now is what you do next. So before you move on, ask yourself, what's one thing you'll do today to take back control of your time and energy? If this message helped you, come back to it often. Watch it again when you slip. Let it remind you of the standard you promised yourself. And if you're serious about growth, there's more coming your way. This journey is just getting started. Stay with it and keep building that productive mindset every single day.